Welcome to our class on Bitachon. We are going to be studying today a very, very special class, and that is about something which is called Bitachon. Bitachon would be translated in English as trust in HaShem, and it's a very, very powerful tool that we need, and especially today with the corona virus, where everyone is nervous and everyone's concerned and everyone is worried what's going to be in many areas of their life. So one of the gifts we have as Jews is something which is called Bitachon, where we have trust in HaShem. So we're going to be learning today about the Midah, the special gift of Bitachon, based on a lot of Kabbalistic ideas and a lot of Kabbalistic teachings from many, many big Kabbalists, including the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and some of the other Chabad Rebbes that talk about the idea of Bitachon, which is called trust in HaShem. So to be clear, that the idea of Bitachon is a tool which we need today. It's something which is important. So we're going to learn what is Bitachon, what is it, how do we activate it, and how can it help us in our lives. So the idea of Bitachon is something which is discussed in many, many places in the Torah. It's brought down in a lot of Kabbalistic books. For example, let's name a few: Reishis Chachma and Sharei Tshuva, and it's all based on a commandment in the Torah. In Deuteronomy, the Torah says as follows: Ki seitzei la melchama, when you go out to war. So everyone knows when you go out to war, there's two issues. One is you want to be successful in the war, but the second issue, and the more important issue, is you get worried, you're nervous. And the problem is when you get nervous, you're not going to win. So the Torah says specifically, Loi sira mehen, that a person should not be afraid. You're going out to war. It's a natural thing to be afraid. So the Torah says, Loi sira mehem, do not be afraid. Why? Because if a person's afraid, you're not going to be successful. So therefore, what should you do if you shouldn't be afraid? So what you should be is, you should see literally the Yeshuat HaShem, the salvation of HaShem, and you have to feel the salvation of HaShem in your heart, and you should trust that everything is going to be good, and everything is what is going to be great. Now, that is again from the Kabbalists based on the verse in the Torah. So the question is, what does this Bitachon mean practically? Now, so we're going to talk about what it means. We're also going to talk about what Bitachon does not mean. So one might think it's a term that we're used to, and that is a term of emunah, faith. So you might think that, you know what Bitachon is? Bitachon is like faith. Faith. You have faith. What kind of faith do you have? That HaShem could be good to you, and HaShem could take away any challenges we have. So that's faith. Bitachon is not just faith that it could happen. Faith means we have faith in HaShem, it could happen. Bitachon means that it's actually going to happen in reality. In other words, that it's so real that it's almost like a guarantee. We're for certain that HaShem is going to save us. Now, what's the difference if you have faith or if you have Bitachon? Very, very simple. If you have faith, so you're not sure. You're having faith, it could happen, it will happen, it's going to happen. So there's still a gap. Versus when you have Bitachon, you know for sure, with certainty it's going to happen. And since you know for certainty it's going to happen, you will have menucha. You'll have real peace and calmness. And here's the key word. If you have Bitachon, the greater the Bitachon, the least the worries. So Bitachon and worry don't go together. If you have Bitachon, worry goes out. If you're worrying, then obviously Bitachon is not working. So the more the Bitachon, the more the trust in HaShem, the more the confidence HaShem will 100% be there for you, the less the worry. If you feel like you're worried, then you have to say to yourself, uh-oh, my Bitachon is not strong, and what can I do to fix that? In other words, like it's brought down in a book called Chovat HaLevavot that talks about the idea of Bitachon. He says like this, that the essence of Bitachon is that the nefesh, the soul of the person that's having trust, is totally calm. Totally calm, totally peaceful, that life and everything is going to be great. And your heart, so it's a feeling, your heart is going to be relying that HaShem, that the one that you're trusting on, it's going to do good for you, and he's going to do everything that's befitting for you, and therefore your trust in him, and obviously you're trusting he's going to do everything for you. And there's another Kabbalist that says that there should not be any doubt whatsoever. So in other words, not only you shouldn't worry, but you shouldn't even doubt whether HaShem is going to do it. So you have zero worry and zero doubt. So Bitachon means zero doubt and zero worry. Now, here comes the big question. It's a big, tall order. What are we saying? That when you have Bitachon in HaShem, means you have no worries and you have no doubt, which is true, tremendous gifts. No worries whatsoever and no doubt, and everything's going to be great. So the question is, where do we get this from? To have such certainty that HaShem, we trust in HaShem, and because of that, all the worries go out the window, all the doubt goes out the window, and we have true bitachon in HaShem. So what's the question? Because if you look in the Torah, because everything goes by the Torah, if you look in the Torah, we find Yaakov Avinu, one of the three patriarchs, that even though he had a promise from HaShem not to worry, and everything was going to be good, he was worried. Why? If Hashem promised him that everything's going to be good, why was he worried? Because he was concerned that maybe the promise will not be fulfilled, because maybe he sinned. Maybe he sinned. And it was after Hashem promised him everything's going to be great. So in theory, he shouldn't have to worry. But he's concerned that what? Maybe, you know what happened? Maybe he sinned. And because maybe he sinned, guess what? It's not going to happen the way it's supposed to happen. Now, so that's when Hashem promised him. So the Rebbe asked a simple question. What happens over here in this case where Hashem never promised us specifically about this thing that we're going through? And therefore, every one of us could be just like Jacob, and we're concerned. Maybe the promise that Hashem promised he's going to take care of us is not going to happen. And the fact is, we're humans, and humans do make mistakes. So the fact is, maybe we made a mistake, and maybe this is why it's happening to us. So the Rebbe explains as follows, that first we're going to talk about one level. That's possible, that's maybe the reason that we're relying on our bitachon, but we're going to see the Rebbe says that's not enough, and he's going to want a higher, much deeper level, and then we're going to learn really what bitachon is. So we're going to start with the first level, and that's as follows. A lot of people say, and again, I'm giving an introduction, this is only like a thought, but eventually we're going to get to a higher level, which is the correct level. But you know what the bitachon is based on? Because we have faith. We have faith that Hashem runs the world, and everything happens from Hashem. So, in other words, like this. If nothing bad's supposed to happen to us, so guess what? Nothing bad will happen to us. And therefore, why worry? If something, God forbid, is supposed to happen to us bad, so it's only happening not because the person wanted to hurt us, or the virus wants to hurt us. It's because Hashem wanted it to happen. So I have trust in Hashem that it's all for the good. Gamzul Tova, it's all for the good. In other words, if nothing's going to happen, it's nothing's going to happen. And if something will happen, you know why it's going to happen? Because Hashem wanted it to happen. And therefore I'm not worried. And based on that, I can have, so to speak, I can be relaxed knowing that everything that was coming from Hashem. But the Rebbe says that's all nice in a theory of faith. We have faith. Listen, everything's from Hashem. So therefore, either if it's supposed to happen, okay, it's coming from Hashem, or if it's not supposed to happen, nothing's going to happen. But that's not bitachon. Bitachon means I am 100% sure Hashem is going to take care of me. So the idea of faith doesn't fit in here. So the question really is, what's this bitachon? Because bitachon means I have trust in Hashem that even in the second half of the case, where let's say I'm not supposed to merit this tremendous gift from Hashem, but nevertheless, I know that Hashem is going to be there for me, and not just going to be there for me in a concealed way, but literally in a revealed way, Hashem will be there for me. And the fact is, we all know, there's many, many people, and we can say here for ourselves, there's a lot of things that we did wrong, and maybe we're not going to merit the level of Emunah. So therefore the Rebbe explains, no, that is faith and that's philosophy, etc. We're talking about the gift of Bitachon is something totally different. What is Bitachon? So the Rebbe explains like this. And I'm going to give you the parameters of what Bitachon is saying is. Bitachon is that the person that has trust in HaShem, that he's going to have a good and a great life, not in the spiritual world, literally, physically down here. In this revealed world, we are going to have a great and beautiful life. And we're going to have a great life, and Hashem is going to be there for us, and Hashem is going to take us out of any challenge we're in. That means, for example, in our case, we have trust that we're going to have a great life, no one's going to get hurt, and unfortunately, the challenges that are going out there, it's all going to go away. And actually, the Rebbe quotes from Chovat HaLevavot, which speaks about in depth about the idea of Bitachon, and he says like this, that Bitachon is that you have trust that Hashem is going to be good to you in a revealed way, whether you deserve it or whether you don't deserve it. So it's a pretty tall order. Bitachon means Hashem is going to give me whatever I need in a revealed way, whether I deserve it or I don't deserve it. Irrelevant how I behaved or have not behaved. So now the question is, what does that mean? We're saying is that Bitachon means you're going to have a great life. Even though there's an epidemic coming, Hashem will protect you, whether you deserve it or not. But the question is, based on what? Why should we have that trust? Based on what? What is it based on? So the Rebbe explains this based on a famous story that happened to a chassid, a student and a follower of the third Chabad Rebbe, the Tzemach Tzedek, that unfortunately he came to the Tzemach Tzedek and he asked him to beseech God for rachamim, real compassion, about someone that was very, very sick, God forbid. And the Tzemach Tzedek turned to him and he said as follows. He could have given him a blessing, fine, everything would be great. Or he could have told him whatever he wanted to tell him. But he told him as follows. And I'll say it in Yiddish, because that's the way it was originally said. And then I'll translate it. He told him, Tracht gut vet sein gut. Which means, in Hebrew, Chashoiv toiv v'giyah toiv. Which means, think good and it will be good. That's what the Tzemach told him. In other words, like this. Let's think about the response. He didn't tell him it's going to be good. And he didn't tell him, be positive. He says, no. Think good. That means he commanded him. He motivated him. He empowered him to think good. That's job number one. And then he told him the thinking good will make it that's going to be good. And what kind of good? Not in the spiritual world, but really in the physical, materialistic world, life will be good and life will be great. So what does that mean? So the Rebbe explains, what does that mean? Here we have a little insight what really Bitachon is. Bitachon is where a person has to do something to make it happen. So it's not that things happen on its own. You have an obligation to do something. Notice, what does Bitachon mean? There's an action you have to do. And when you have the action of Bitachon, that will cause the good thing to happen. In other words, the Bitachon is, my job is to think good. What does that mean? Think about this. In the case of the Tzemach Tzedek's chassid, he was dealing with someone that was very, very sick. And when someone's very, very sick, you can't think good. All the things you're hearing and all the predictions, whether it's from family, medical, how can you think good? But nevertheless, what did the Tzemach Tzedek tell him? Think good. Is it easy to think good? It's not easy to think good. But the Tzemach told him, if you will think good, you'll be able to overcome your inkling of thinking negative. You're going to work on yourself. You're going to move your soul to, instead of not only thinking good, but feeling that it's going to be good, the thinking and the feeling that it's good, that will make it good in a real way. And the Rebbe quotes from Psalms, King David says like this, Hashlech al Hashem Yehavcha, which means that the only one I'm relying on, I'm not relying on this one, that one, what this one says, no. The only one I rely on is one person and one place itself, and that's HaShem. I am relying on HaShem, and once I rely on HaShem, I know everything will be good. And Bitachon comes from like, I'm boiteach. I am relying on you, HaShem. I know the only one that could help me is you, and I'm relying on you to help me, and God willing, you will help me. Now, the Rebbe brings from Choyvat HaLevavot, and he gives an example. He gives a mashal. He says, take for example somebody that's a servant of a master, and his job is to do whatever the master asks him to do. The master's job is to take care of him. So the servant that works for the master, he knows everything he needs, he gets from his boss. He needs food, his boss gives him. He needs drink, the boss gives him. He needs a bed, the boss gives him. He gets sick, the boss is going to heal him. He has no other resources. He's 100% reliant on his boss. So the same way that if somebody works for someone and that person is responsible to take care of him, that's the same way we have to have the relationship with HaShem. We know for certain HaShem is our Father, HaShem is our God, and we're His children, and anything and everything we need, HaShem will give us. Whether we're deserving, whether we're behaving, whether we're not behaving, whatever it is, HaShem will give us. Now, so in other words, you are relying 100% that everything is coming from HaShem. And the Rebbe's words, he says like this. This, that you are relying on HaShem, which means, again, in Hebrew, the Bitachon b'Hashem, the fact that you're saying, you know what, I am 100% trusting in HaShem. I'm not trusting on this person and that person and this system and whatever it may be. I am trusting strictly in HaShem. That is the foundation for the trust that we have, that HaShem is going to give us a good life in a revealed way, even if we're not befitting for this type of kindness. We are 100% relying on HaShem. Now, what does that mean? So, bitachon doesn't mean that I have faith in HaShem. Because since HaShem is without limit and He can do whatever He wants, and therefore He's going to give it to me. No. Bitachon means that it's work. And not only it's work, it's tremendous effort, and it's actually soul work. Because I have to be willing to have trust that the only one I'm turning to is HaShem, and the only one that could help me and will help me is HaShem, and that's the only place where I'm going to get my help from. 100% only from HaShem. That is bitachon. So again, bitachon means clearly that the only place and the only person and the only resource I'm going to get help is just from HaShem. Once I do my part, where I basically turn myself over to HaShem, and that's the only place I look for HaShem, that is going to cause HaShem to give me everything that I need. But, is it easy? No, it's not easy. Because what you're basically saying is, I am relying 100% on HaShem. Now, when you're relying on HaShem, that HaShem is going to take care of you. So it's very simple. If you're relying 100% on HaShem, do you have any worries? So it's very simple. Let's say from 1 to 10. If you're relying on HaShem 10, worry is 0. If you're relying on HaShem 5, the worry is going to be 5. So the more you're able to get rid of the worry, and you're able to move up to relying on HaShem, that's how the bitachon is going to happen. And the greater the bitachon, which is my work, and the greater my work to get rid of my worry, that's going to cause me to receive the gift from HaShem. And because I'm doing this work, what's the work I'm doing? The work that I'm doing is I am basically having trust in HaShem, and I'm not going to worry. That's going to cause HaShem to give me the gift. And Rebbe quotes from Sefer Ikrim, which is a Kabbalah book, which is based on Psalms. And in Psalms it says as follows. V'habeiteach b'Hashem, the one that trusts in HaShem, chesed yisovevenu. he'll be surrounded with kindness. So the direct reward for Bitachon in HaShem is kindness. In other words, even though you don't deserve the kindness, you're going to get kindness from HaShem because you have Bitachon on HaShem. And even though, for example, something terrible is supposed to happen, nevertheless, as long as you have Bitachon in HaShem, nothing will happen. And this is the interesting, we find in Psalms, in the book of Psalms, King David says like this, Bitach b'Hashem, it's a command, have trust in Hashem. And we know it says Yisrael, the Jewish people, Bitach b'Hashem, we have trust in Hashem. And by us having Bitachon in Hashem, we will get all the rewards from Hashem. So if we start making calculations, how is it going to work? Guess what? Now we're not having trust in Hashem. But the more trust in Hashem, the easier it's going to be to have trust in Hashem, and that will get rid of all the worries that we have. And the Alter Rebbe actually brings in Tanya, and he says that when a person has faith in Hashem, the faith in Hashem will make that the good happen in a revealed way. And the Rebbe says, based on this, we can understand a deeper understanding what the Tzemach Tzedek was saying. The Tzemach Tzedek was saying is Chashoiv Toiv v'yiyah Toiv, or in Yiddish, Trach good v'zayin good, or in English, think good and it will be good, which basically means the thinking good. When we think good, and again, it's not easy. Sometimes it's very, very hard to think good. How can you think good? You're hearing all the terrible news and you're seeing terrible things are happening to you, and exactly. But when we're able to overcome, our avodah is to overcome all the things we're hearing, all the things we're seeing, but still able to pierce out and thinking good, that will cause and make happen that it should be good. And the Rebbe brings a famous story from the Torah in Exodus, and the story goes as follows. We all know that Moshe Rabbeinu, when he was in Egypt, so he saw an Egyptian hurting a Jew, and we all know Moshe Rabbeinu killed him, whether he killed him with his hand or whether he killed him with a divine name. He killed him. Then what happened was the next day, Moshe Rabbeinu came out, and he sees two Jews fighting, and one Jew picks up his hand to the other Jew. He didn't hurt him. So Moshe Rabbeinu tells him, Rasha, he called him a wicked person. Why are you hitting the other person? Now the question, he didn't hit him. He didn't do anything. He just picked up his hand. But obviously the minute you pick up your hand, it's a no-no. So the person tells him, oh, do you want to kill me like you killed the Egyptian the other day? Story in the Torah. With the commentaries, the Medrash on it. So Moshe Rabbeinu says, uh-oh, and I'll quote, Vayira Moshe. Moshe was afraid. Vayomer, he says, Achei noida hadavar. Now the word is out. Nebuch, what I did the other day to the Egyptian. And because of that, he actually ran away. Moshe Rabbeinu decided to run away. So the question is asked, 1 second. Moshe Rabbeinu did what he did to the Egyptian. He wasn't afraid. He never ran away. If he did something terrible, why didn't he run away? Obviously, he didn't run away because he didn't do anything wrong. Someone was hurting another person. He stood up in self-defense. The problem the commentaries say over here was that now Moshe Rabbeinu, he was never concerned maybe people are going to find out. The problem was Vayira Moshe. Moshe Rabbeinu got worried. What does that mean he got worried? He lost his full bitachon in Hashem that everything's going to be good. If you believe you're doing the right thing, have trust in Hashem, everything will be good. The fact that someone tells me, oh, and you're going to kill like you killed the other person, why are you worried about that? If you believe you didn't do anything wrong. The problem was Vayira Moshe. Moshe was afraid. And the minute his fear kicked in, now he realized, now I'm in trouble. So in other words, what the Rebbe is bringing out is, when did Moshe Rabbeinu realize he had to run away? Why was he afraid? Because when he became afraid, now he started to run away. In other words, let's look at the opposite. If Moshe Rabbeinu was not afraid, he wouldn't run away. And so you see clearly from the Torah, a clear story, the minute fear kicks in, Bitachon goes down. The minute Bitachon goes down, then you start running away, and you're nervous, and all the negative things come into play. So what do we see from here clearly? That practically, that when a person is confronted with challenges, whether it's spiritual challenges or physical challenges, there's no question to make it clear. Obviously, if you have to go to a doctor, you should go to a doctor. And if they give you specific orders, you have to listen. Obviously, tzaddikim, it's a whole different world. But for us, simple, you have to listen. We're talking one point and one point only. And that is about not being afraid and not having any worries. And by working on ourselves, not having worries and not being afraid, and having bitachon in Hashem, that Hashem will take care of us, that will open up tremendous gifts and tremendous blessings. And which is interesting is, we all know that when the Jewish people went out of Egypt, so King David says in Psalms as follows, Eilecha zo'aku v'nimlatu, we reached out to you and you took us out of Egypt. Now, why did you take us out of Egypt? Because we all know the famous song the Rebbe sings, B'cha batchu v'lo voishu, because we had bitachon in you, Hashem, and we were not embarrassed. Therefore, when we turned to you, you actually saved us. So again, what happened first was B'cha batchu. We turned to you, Hashem. We said, Hashem, we have trust in you that you're going to take care of us. We're not going to worry. We're not going to be concerned. We're not going to be afraid. And therefore, you took us out. And that's the reason why the Jewish people went out of Egypt. And actually, we're getting ready to celebrate Egypt. So it says the same thing also. This galus that we're in, if we want to go out of this galus, the way we're going to go out of this galus is, as the prophet Isaiah says, that we have to have faith that the Yeshua, the salvation, is going to come. And the stronger we have faith that the salvation is going to come, that will cause for us to have and experience the redemption. So in other words, like this, Bitachon, trust in Hashem, is the most powerful tool and gift that God gave us. Because if you have Bitachon in Hashem, number one is you're secure and you're confident that Hashem will take care of us 100%. And if you have Bitachon, you're not going to worry and you're not going to be afraid, you're not going to have any fear and any anxiety, anything. And you're going to experience true simcha. But Bitachon is not just a gift. You can go to the store and buy it. Bitachon takes work. Bitachon takes work on our part, that we are committed that the only place we want to receive blessings from is from you, Hashem. We don't want it from anywhere else. And we know, Hashem, you're going to give it to us. We're not settling to go to any middleman or any other place. And by us doing our avodah, then we will merit, Hashem will turn to us. Now you're going to say, but listen, maybe I don't deserve it. And that's the beauty of Bitachon. Whether you deserve it or not, the beauty of Bitachon is that if you B'teach b'Hashem, if you trust in Hashem, you will receive Hashem's beautiful, loving gift of love and warmth and happiness. And when you have Hashem's gift of love, warmth, and happiness, you have the greatest and best life. So to recap the class of Bitachon is as follows. That Bitachon is one of the biggest gifts, because when a person has Bitachon, when you have trust in Hashem, you will have true peace, happiness, with zero worry and concern or fear of anything. Now, it's available whether you deserve it or not. The only thing you need to do is put the effort in. What is the effort? In Yiddish, Hebrew, and in English, trach gut in Yiddish. In Hebrew, tachshov tov. In English, think good, think positive. Our avodah is very simple. Just think positive thoughts. Whether you on that level, whether you feel it, whether you believe it, you're holding there, as long as you actively fill your thoughts with positive thoughts. And again, we know it's not easy. And sometimes it's very, very hard, especially now, all the stories you hear. But if you're able to, within all the craziness, keep your mind focused with good thoughts that Hashem loves us, and Hashem is going to take us out of this challenge, and He's going to give us tremendous blessings, and it's going to be, we have a great life, and it's going to be an amazing life, which again, it's not easy to do. But by doing that, that's called Bitachon b'Hashem. That's called doing our part. And when we do our part, you know what happens? Hashem gives us infinite blessings. Hashem wants to see us, as hard as it is, remember that Hashem runs the world. And remember that because Hashem runs the world, the only place we turn to is Hashem. And I know today it's not easy because we can't go to shul, and you don't have the minyan, and you don't have your, the community together, etc. But guess what? Hashem is everywhere. So even though you can't be in shul and you can't be with the minyan, and people are talking about Pesach, maybe we're not going to be together, but you know what? Hashem is not limited to shul. Yes, it's much more powerful in shul. Everyone knows that. Hashem is everywhere, in every place, and Hashem is available anytime, wherever you're at. Whether you're in the street, whether you're at home, whether you're in the park, whether you're outside, Hashem is everywhere. And as long as you constantly and actively, 24/7, put your bitachon, your trachut exclusively in Hashem, whether you deserve it or not, Hashem will give you the greatest blessings. So on one hand, it's very, very easy, because you can just trust in Hashem. Hashem gives you everything. On the other hand, yes, it's very hard just to trust in Hashem when you see and hear all these terrible things. But the fact is, when you constantly put your trust in Hashem and you think positive and you're constantly only turning to Hashem, Hashem will give us all the greatest blessings, and the greatest blessings, which is the greatest blessing where Hashem reveals Himself to us, and we'll have blessings beyond our wildest dreams. So it's really, I didn't say it's easy. It's an effort. It requires effort, and maybe sometimes a little painful, because you're going against the grain. You're going against how you feel right now. But you're pushing that all aside, and you're putting on a smile because you know Hashem loves you, and you're putting your trust in Hashem. You're getting rid of all your worries, all your fears, and this will give you the greatest gift. The gift that Hashem will be the only exclusive place you turn to. And when you turn to Hashem, Hashem says, Trachgut v'zayngut, b'chabotchu, we have trust in Hashem, Eilecha zoku, and b'nimlatnu, Hashem will heal us and redeem us and take us out of our personal exile and our global exile, only because one reason, b'chabotchu. We think good, we trust exclusively in Hashem, and will merit to the greatest blessings. And let's take a hope that if we all think positive and we all put our trust exclusively in Hashem, we'll all merit to the greatest revelation, Hashem revealing Himself to each and every one of us personally and collectively. Thank you so much for joining us to our shir, and let's hope our Bitachon will give us the greatest blessings that we all need right now.